Are you planning to hike the Jordan Trail? Great choice. In early 2026, I hiked the southern part from Al-Karak to the Red Sea. With the experience I gained there, I will try to help you plan your own adventure. For me, the Jordan Trail was an incredible experience. I hiked it completely solo and unsupported, relying only on myself and my gear, and the occasional hospitality of the Jordanians. And I'm quite sure that if you're adventurous and take a few precautions while planning, it will be an amazing adventure and experience for you as well. Before we start, none of the links or products and gear that I show in or mention in this video is sponsored. I don't get anything from anyone. These are all my own opinions. So if you find this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out my other videos about long distance hiking, traveling, my other survival guides, you know that stuff. And if you want to be extra supportive, there is also the link to my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description. Thank you very much. Where to get the resources for planning the hike? Well, first of all, there is the official Jordan Trail website. On this website, you will find a lot of information about the whole trail, divided into stages, including up-to-date GPX data. It also shows you water sources, suggested camping areas, and much more. You can also find some of the points I talk about on their website, but I will try to get more into detail. The trail can also be found on hiking apps like Komoot or Outdoor Active. Keep in mind that the route can change and the data on these sites can be a little outdated. I personally use the up-to-date official route on my GPS device and Outdoor Active on my phone, as the different maps included different camping spots and other useful places. As far as I know, there is no official guidebook, but there are organized group trips. So if you're already overwhelmed with all the planning and all that stuff, I know it can get really difficult at times, then maybe consider joining a group hike. There is, for example, the official annual thru hike, which you can also find on the Jordan Trail website. And there are many tour operators that organize group tours of parts or of the whole trail. The Jordan Trail is a rather difficult one, and that starts with the planning. The better you plan your route, your stages, and the better you know your body, the better you know yourself and how your body can handle distances, elevation in dry and remote and hot areas, the easier it will be for you to plan and hike that trail. The trail itself is moderately hard, I'd say. There are some exposed parts where you will hike along narrow parts, ride along steep cliffs, so head for heights is something good to bring with you. You will also follow dirt roads as well as rocky valleys, and one of the toughest parts will be the sandy sections. The deeper the sand, the more energy it will take. Knowing what your body can take, planning your individual stages accordingly, and taking enough food and water with you to be safe on stages is crucial to hike safely along the trail. Now, the area along the trail is more populated in the north. After Dana in the south, it gets more remote with sections without population for 4 to 6 days, depending on how you plan your stages. But there probably won't be a day where you don't meet Bedouins who use this trail since thousands of years. What I want to say about this is that there will be people from time to time, and in emergency situations, you can ask them for water. Something that you should also keep in mind is the heat. We will get to that point later in the video. The public transport system in Jordan between the bigger towns and cities is pretty good. Most of you will arrive in Amman by plane. Maybe some also arrive in Aqaba, where there is a smaller international airport. From both of the cities or airports, you have different options. There are rather luxury buses from the private company called Jet. They operate rather between the bigger towns and cities, but are a reliable option. Then there are the minibuses, which also go into the smaller towns and villages. they are the more affordable option as well. Just go to a bus station and tell somebody where you want to go and they will send you in the right direction. People are usually very friendly and helpful. I encourage you to start the hike in one of the bigger towns, as it can be rather tricky to get to the smaller remote places, so it's just easier for you as well. If you want to start at a remote place for which reason ever, it's just also way more tricky for you. You would need to either hitch a ride or take a private taxi, pay for a private taxi. Both is absolutely possible in Jordan and not a big problem, but it's just unnecessary in my opinion. But that's something you have to know to figure out yourself. The official start and ending points, Qais or Aqaba, are both reachable from Amman by direct bus. Inside most of the towns, if you don't want to walk, especially Amman, because it's a quite big and widely spread city, you can take a taxi. There are two apps that are similar to Uber, which are called Karim and Petra Ride. I used the latter and it worked great in the bigger towns like Aqaba, Al-Karak, Wadi Musa and obviously Amman. In the more remote areas, it will obviously not work as good or not at all. First of all, you can basically camp anywhere. Just use common sense and don't camp too close to properties, Bedouin camps, other facilities, especially military ones. Also, don't camp right in Petra, that's forbidden. Although I understand how tempting it is. Overall, I spent my nights at some of the most amazing camp spots I ever had. So there are plenty of options. As I said, on the GPX data and also at Outdoor Active, there are some camp spots marked, but you will find plenty of places where you just can put up your tent. But also here, proper planning is a good thing to do. Sometimes I struggle to find sheltered places, sheltered from the wind, because sometimes in the open desert, especially like Wadi Rum or something like this, it's very windy, and also in the night it stays windy sometimes. And then it's a good thing to have a little shelter, to have at least a big boulder that somehow protects you from the wind. Of course, as always, when you're camping or just when you're somewhere outdoors, stick to the leave no trace principle. That means don't disturb wildlife or fauna with your camping, better don't light a campfire, especially in forested areas, and leave wood in remote deserted areas for wildlife and locals, as this resource is very limited there. And super important, take your rubbish with you. Also, if you happen to find some trash that someone left before you, take it with you. I know it's not yours, but you know. Regarding accommodations, you won't be able to hike this trail sleeping only in accommodations. For that, the trail is just too remote in parts. Like there are, as I said earlier, there are parts where you won't cross a town for at least 4 days. But especially in the north, you will be able to sleep inside most of the time if you wish so. The longest period I spent without sleeping inside were, I think, 5 nights. If you want to go really wild, you can also do this trail completely with camping. You don't have to sleep in towns. Then just plan your stages accordingly and only visit the towns for resupplying, restocking on food and other stuff. I personally enjoy a shower from time to time, and I also had to recharge my gear, so especially the cameras and stuff for filming. So I, from time to time, stayed in an accommodation, which was really nice. The prices for these accommodations are very different. The prices vary much, but most of the time are pretty affordable. Most accommodations offer breakfast and also dinner for an additional price sometimes. The Jordanian cuisine is just absolutely amazing, and a home-cooked meal after some days of canned tuna and instant noodles is just something you should treat yourself with, in my opinion. One last thing about accommodations. You can use booking.com or Agoda, that works pretty well in Jordan. However, to keep as much money spent in local communities, I highly recommend just checking these websites to get the location, prices, and maybe details of the accommodations, and book directly at the hostess if possible. WhatsApp is a very common tool to use to communicate when booking something in Jordan. So text the host directly or knock on their doors. Avoid international chains. Stay at places owned by locals. Listen to the stories. Eat their amazing homemade food. As I just said, food in Jordan for omnivores as well as vegetarians is amazing. Especially at restaurants or at the accommodations, I encourage you to try as much food as possible. What I gotta mention, when my host asked me if I want dinner and or breakfast, I think all of them also asked if I have a special diet, so that they can adapt. So I think it will be fine no matter what your needs are. Anyway, if it's super special because you have some intolerances, maybe let them know in advance or bring special food with you. The little shops along the way have a rather small selection compared to supermarkets in Europe, for example. Nevertheless, you will never go hungry. I mainly survived on instant noodles and tuna, oats for breakfast, but you will find more there, I'm pretty sure. Bigger shops are only found in the bigger towns like Amman, Wadi Musa or Aqaba. I recommend when you plan your stages, also keep in mind that at some sections you will not pass shops for a couple of days, so bring enough food with you. Some shops, especially the one you will find in Dana, are rather like snack shops, so they only have like chips or biscuits and some stuff like that. I think they didn't even have instant noodles or something. I was lucky that I had leftovers because I always bring a bit more food with me for if something like this happens. Water is one of the, if not even the most important thing on this trail. In February of 2026, the desert was filled with way more water than I would have ever expected. It was crazy. Did you watch my videos? I even took a shower in the middle of the desert under a waterfall. I would have never expected that. Also, the springs and other water sources like cisterns or pools can be found on the GPX data and routes on jordantrail.org, Outeractive and other sites. Now, the water availability can change during the year. The biggest chance to find water everywhere is winter and early spring. What I did when passing Bedouins, for example, I always try to ask them where the next water source is and if it carries water. I sometimes carried up to 6.5 liters of water, but you have to adapt to your needs. I hiked in February and had only up to 30 degrees on some days only. It was hot enough, but if you hike in warmer times, you will need to carry more water, of course. You will also need a filter with you. There are many filter options nowadays. I use the Survivo filter bottle. It has a filter inside here. That's just the one that I use. There are so many options nowadays. Just find the one that fits you the most. I was lucky that I didn't have any struggles with with water, except one time when the spring I arrived at was very weak, so there was not much of a water flow, and the water holes beneath the spring were filled with shit from goats that were passing by just earlier that day, I think. Overall, at least this filter bottle promises to filter out also bacteria and viruses and all that stuff from feces, but it's not the nicest thing to get your water from from a water hole where there is shit swimming inside. I eventually found a rather clean water hole and filled my bottle up. But this experience made me nervous for the next few springs, and I even carried, at this point, a a bottle full with my piss with me, because I just thought, okay, what if the next spring would turn out to be the same and stuff like this. I didn't want to waste water. Anyway, the next spring was then probably the most beautiful and cleanest and a lot of water of the whole trail. So I was safe. So anyway, what I want to say is be prepared for the worst, and try to always keep some spare water with you. Expect springs and other water sources to be dry in summer or phases where it hasn't rained in a long time. Now, if you want to be on the safe side, you can also pay someone to bring you water and food to some points. They will meet you somewhere or hide packages for you at certain locations. In the descriptions, you find the number of Suleiman, a Bedouin I met in the Dana Reserve. He was very friendly and we had a nice chat, and he gave me his number just in case I would need something, and also said that he offers food and water support on the trail. So if you consider this, feel free to contact him or any other provider you might find. Now let's dive a bit into the practical planning. Resupply. Plan your food around the longer remote sections, not around the kilometers. Does that make sense? So for example, let's take Dana to Petra, Wadi Musa. You will have 4 days. Most of you, I guess, 4 days are the most realistic stages. So take enough food with you for 4.5, maybe 5 days to be on the safe side. Expect the unexpected. Maybe something happens. Maybe you hurt yourself. That section, Dana to Wadi Musa, is still relatively easy because there are plenty of Bedouins living there. So in case of emergency, you're on the safe side. You will pass plenty of Bedouin tents and stuff, but still, always bring more food and more water than you expect to need. I know your backpack will be very heavy, but that's how it is. Cash cards and ATMs. Carry enough cash with you. Not euros, not dollars, Jordanian dinars. While in the most bigger towns you can pay with cards, and also in most shops and restaurants. But there are smaller shops, local accommodations, taxis, Bedouin camps. They often prefer or require cash. Don't expect that you can pay everywhere by card. Take a good amount of cash with you. ATMs are mainly found in larger towns, so withdraw money before entering a remote section. And keep your cash in more than one place in case you lose your wallet. Charging strategy. You won't be able to charge your phone directly from a power socket every night because you have to camp most of the time. But just bring at least one good power bank with you. I had two 20,000 milliampere power banks with me, and it was more than enough for charging my phone and also occasionally my cameras and headlamp and all my stuff. So if you don't film a lot or stuff, you probably are fine with one power bank, but yeah, that's also something you have to know for yourself. Solar panels, I'm not sure. I once had a power bank that was was also chargeable by solar power. Didn't really work out, even in very sunny areas. So yeah, my experience with solar panels are not so good. Weather, wind and flash floods. Check the forecast whenever you have reception, or if your plan for your Garmin or other GPX device that you use includes it, you can always ask for the up-to-date weather forecast for exactly your position. Do that from time to time. Especially before entering a canyon or wadi. Rain far away can cause a flash flood downstream, even when the sky above you looks clear. Don't camp in a narrow wadi directly above a stream bed or in the lowest point of a valley. Flash floods are the biggest danger on this whole trail. Every year people die because of flash floods, mainly foreigners, because they don't expect it. In deserts, flash floods are probably the biggest danger there is, way before any other threat like animals or humans. That's by far the biggest threat. Wind can also become a problem. I mean, I think there was maybe one night that I remember now, where I didn't sleep really good because the wind direction changed and it would get really noisy in the tent. So yeah, always try to be somehow sheltered from the wind when you set up your camp. And also, if you saw the first video, I think it was on the second day or something, I had to lean into the wind because it was so strong at some times. Yeah, but you can't do anything against it. Also in Wadi Rum, I once had kind of a sandstorm, but it wasn't too bad, so I kept on hiking. Emergency plan. Before starting, share your planned route, approximate schedule with someone you trust, family or friends. Tell them when they should expect an update and what they should do if they do not hear from you. Carry offline maps, carry your GPS tracks, important phone numbers, and basic first aid supplies. A satellite communicator. I will get more into detail later, I think. And this device helped me a lot with navigation and all that stuff. I could stay in contact with my family and my girlfriend, even though I had absolutely no connection with my phone. This thing always finds connection. Gadgets like this are good, but they do not replace good planning and sensible or mindful decision. The budget really depends on how you want to travel. While camping on the trail is not optional but just mandatory, in some places and towns you can choose from a massive amount of accommodations, as I said earlier. From super affordable hostels to luxury hotels, all is possible on the Jordan Trail. And there are also fees where you won't come around. And these are entrance fees to places like Petra or Wadi Rum, which you will hike through. Now, there is something that can make that easier and even save you a couple of euros. The Jordan Pass. If you purchase it before entering Jordan, it will include your visa fees, the entry to Petra, and a load of other places like Wadi Rum, Al-Kara Castle, plenty of museums in the whole country, and other sites you pass and might want to visit. I did not get a Jordan Pass myself, which was a rather bad idea because the most expensive option costs 80 JD, which includes the visa and also 3-day entry to Petra. I bought that both on arrival, and visa plus my 3-day Petra entry was already 100 JD. So I would have saved already more than 20 euro just with this. 20 euro gives you a night in a nice homestay or hotel including breakfast, or 2 or 3 really nice meals in non-touristy restaurants in Jordan. So that money goes quite a while. When I think about the small fees for Kara Castle, Wadi Rum and others, I could have saved a bunch of money there, so I recommend you getting that pass. Do not confuse it with the Jordan Trail Pass, which is nothing more than a rather expensive souvenir that does not have any benefits for you. So overall, the Jordan Trail can be a pretty affordable experience depending on how strict you keep to staying in your tent. If you like to treat yourself with nice hotels, plenty of food, visit all the sites and a hammam from time to time, it can also get pricey pretty easily. This is a very important topic. The trail is not marked throughout, and some stages are not marked at all. Sometimes that is not a big problem because the path is visible. In other places, markings are painted on flat stones, scattered, or simply hard to find. Best thing you can and should do is help yourself with proper GPX data. Now, if you use your phone or something else, is absolutely your decision. I will tell you what I did and why I think it was the best way to navigate through Jordan. So again, this is my Garmin GPS map 67i. With this device, I was able to download and use the GPX data provided from the official Jordan Trail website. It also already included marked wildcamp spots, water sources, sites, shops, and other useful things. It has also a lot of other uses. I was able to track myself and share my location with my family, send them short messages, and also get weather updates from my location. And probably after navigating, the most important thing that I luckily did not need and will never need, there is an emergency button. If this one is pressed, Garmin gets a notification and will initiate the rescue chain, sharing my location with officials and try to get me out there. It definitely calmed my mind a little to know that in many emergencies I will be able to ask for help. I also checked out the maps on Outdoor Active and Komoot, just because on both maps, especially Outdoor Active, which I think runs on OpenStreetMaps, there are a few more wildcamp spots and water sources than on the GPX data I had. Jordanians are mostly warm and welcoming people. That is deeply rooted in their culture and religion. If you are from a Western country, it might seem strange, but here it is absolutely normal that people who see you passing by invite you in their homes for some chai or food and treat you like a family member, even if they don't speak your language. The same counts for Bedouins, which you will meet mostly in the southern parts. That sounds weird. Obviously, Bedouins are also Jordanians. In the middle of nowhere, they will sit with their animals and make some chai over a tiny fire and will insist you to join them for a couple of glasses. I'm incredibly grateful for how I was treated during my time in Jordan. It happened that I had too much food in my backpack because I kept on being invited and getting fat from them and even being invited to stay overnight. It also happened that I had to decline invites because if you accept every single one, then you need at least 1 or 2 additional weeks to finish the Jordan Trail. Sometimes I also had the feeling that they are so concerned of being nice to a stranger that they didn't really saw how you feel. Like I had encounters where I was done. I was walking since more than 20 kilometers. It was crazy hot. I was just done with my life. And they were so excited and motivated to meet someone and wanted to show me everything and invite me to everything, that they kind of missed seeing that I really don't want to talk and just want to be left alone and stuff. So yeah, that can sometimes happen as well, I think. So yeah, there will be some funny interactions for you too. But overall, the people in Jordan are beyond friendly and welcoming and also helpful. If you need help, they will go out of the way to make sure you are fine. And like always, if you travel to a foreign country, it always helps to learn at least a couple of words, the basic, in the language that is spoken. As well as some local customs, of course. When you approach a Bedouin tent, for example, as a man, you should do so from the left, as a woman from the right. I usually try to avoid going too close to the tents anyway. First, out of respect for the people living there, and second, there is a chance that there are dogs, and as you will learn in a couple of minutes, they suck. It can be hiked nearly year-round, depending on personal preferences. Only the summer months should be really avoided, and the summer is longer than, let's say, in Europe. Although we have crazy summer right now, in Jordan it's like this every year, and it also can start in May and will last until September, October. So winter is not a problem at all, as you saw with me. I had absolutely no problem, especially in the south. If you start in the north, it can get quite cold as well, because Jordan is a country with very diverse climates, changing a lot from north to south. The hottest it got when I was hiking was around 30 degrees. And the nights were really different. Like, it really depends on which altitude you sleep. In the desert, in the lower parts, and it was really hot. Like, that definitely more than 15 degrees. So my sleeping bag was way too warm for that. And then when I was sleeping at more than 1,200 meters, I think was the highest. It was really cold, and I was happy I had my warm sleeping bag, including the inlay and my thermal underwear with me. So yeah, also here again, personal preferences, but bring equipment and gear that will keep you warm also in higher altitudes. Visa and residency registration. Many tourists, for example from EU member countries, the US, UK and Switzerland, can apply for an e-visa before arrival. I tried to do that and failed, because the website is just pure bullshit. Maybe you are more lucky, but even if not, you will be able to apply for a visa on arrival, or you get yourself a Jordan pass. Depends, but you can also get a visa on arrival, so no worries about that. You will be able to apply for a visa on arrival, which enables you to stay there for up to 1 month, but you will be able to prolong it for 3 more months at a police station before it expires. Anyway, before going, please check which current visa restrictions are applying to your country, because they can change and also can be very different for various countries. Talking about police stations, if you are staying in Jordan for more than 15 days, 2 weeks, you have to report at the police station before these 14 days are over. They call it residency registration. Best thing to do so is in Amman. Just ask at your recommendation and they will send you to the right station. They also need to give you a letter where they say that you are staying with them, and you also have to bring a copy of your passport with you. I think that's all I had with me. Correct me please if I'm wrong and you have experience with that. Plan some time for that day, because it's a little bit confusing. You have to go to the first police station, get a letter there, walk or take a taxi to a station a few kilometers away, get your fingerprints there, and bring the letter back to the first police station, where you have to give some more information, like your Jordanian phone number. I think it's okay to give the one of the accommodation if you don't have a local SIM, and just then this whole case is closed after you get an extra stamp in your passport. It is a bit annoying, but overall an interesting experience seeing how similar and chaotic bureaucracy works all over the world. What happens if you don't do that? I found different answers to that actually in the internet. One I found is a 250 euro fine that you will have to pay when leaving Jordan, as well as one source saying it is around 3.5 euros per day you stayed after your 13-day limit. So anyway, to avoid any kind of trouble, I recommend you just doing this. Along the Jordan Trail, you will often find yourself without phone or internet connection. Especially in the remote areas, I think between Petra and Wadi Rum, there was a stretch where I didn't have connection for over 2 days. Another reason why my Garmin came in handy. In most In most of the accommodations you will have pretty good Wi-Fi, as well as in some restaurants, cafes or public places in bigger towns. To be independent and not rely on Wi-Fi, I recommend getting a tourist SIM card or a eSIM. I paid around 15 euro for my physical SIM card, which was from Orange. Apparently they have the most reliable net in Jordan, especially in the south. And in these 15 euros, I had 500 GB for 30 days included, which is a lot, but absolutely normal in Jordan. You can also just get an eSIM if your phone supports that. There are many providers for Jordan there. Usually this is a rather short section, but on the Jordan Trail there are actually a few. So here we go. Number one, dehydration and heat. Obviously the heat can be a huge danger here. The sun is relentless and there will be sections on the trail where shade is kind of non-existent for kilometers. So bring proper clothes according to the time you want to walk. Bring sunscreen, sunglasses, all of that stuff to keep you protected as good as possible, especially your head. Also, the Jordanian desert is one of the driest places on earth, and you will feel that. So make sure to drink enough. Always refill all your bottles at every chance you get, and always take at least 5 liters or more with you. The maximum I had with me was 6.5 liters at times, and again I hiked in February, which is one of the colder months. Number 2, wild animals. First of all, don't be scared. Wild animals are everywhere, and you are lucky enough to walk through a landscape where there are still plenty of them left. Also respect them. You are in their living room. If you have a problem with that, stay home, lock yourself in the basement, then the wilderness is just not for you. So first things, mammals. There are wolves, jackals and hyenas. That's just an information. They exist. You will probably not see any of them. I was lucky to hear jackals and wolf during my nights in the desert, which is always one of the most amazing experiences for me. They may sound dangerous to some people, but they are absolutely no threat to humans. So don't worry about them. In Jordan, there are actually a bunch of venomous animals. Especially in the desert, you can find a bunch of venomous snakes that can potentially harm humans. And then there are a bunch of scorpions that are also venomous, especially the yellow deathstalker. I love that name. Now, the venomous snakes and also scorpions are nocturnal. So you can spot scorpions very easily if you bring a UV light, because they are fluorescent. So as I said, snakes and scorpions both are mainly nocturnal, and they spend their days beneath stones. So during daytime, if you don't flip stones, you will probably not meet them. So don't flip stones, okay? I love scorpions, I love snakes. I wanted to spot them, but in February it's too cold. Most of the time they're absolutely non-existent. They are not hibernating, but they're kind of in winter break. I don't know how to say that properly, but like in the colder months, December, January, February, you will not meet them. I was actively looking for them. I had a UV light with me to look for scorpions. I didn't see a single one. So even though they exist, and in the warmer months there is a chance you will encounter them, if you hike it in the colder months, there is also a good chance you won't see any of them. Also, especially snakes avoid people, so most of the time they leave before you even see them. One important recommendation: take all your stuff in your tent during the night, and always keep your tent closed so no scorpions can get inside. If you leave anything outside, especially shoes, other clothes or your backpack, make sure to check and shake them off properly before putting anything on again, because scorpions love to squeeze into that stuff. Number 3, people. As we know, there are bad people everywhere, and as I said earlier, the locals overall are very friendly and welcoming, and I'm quite sure that most of them don't have anything bad in mind. The worst thing that happened to me were people trying to scare me in Petra when they wanted to sell me a stone they just picked up. Now, sadly, life in this world is different if you're male or female, as there are also a lot of pieces of shit in this world. That has nothing to do with culture or religion or anything, it's just low-life men that feel superior towards women, and these fucking idiots exist on the whole planet. So, can I say how safe the trail is for women, especially solo hiking women? No, I can't, but I met someone who happens to be a woman and also has hiked a part of the trail all by herself, and I asked her if she wanted to share her experience in this video, and she was super awesome about it and immediately said yes. So here we go, meet Nicole.
I felt really safe the whole time on the Jordan Trail. I definitely did my research ahead of time in terms of what to be aware of in terms of wildlife and, like sources of water and everything like that. Obviously, one of my biggest concerns is always people that I'm going to meet on trail, and this, I actually barely came across anyone except for some local Bedouins who are oftentimes moving their animals across through the canyons and everything. And I felt very comfortable that way. I feel most comfortable also sleeping in a place where people don't know where I'm sleeping. So actually sleeping alone away from anyone else makes me more comfortable. And out there wasn't anyone to be around. And then wildlife is usually my next concern. And that wasn't too much present here, at least at this time of the year when I went. Also, like, the animals that are present aren't really ones known for bothering humans. So upon doing that research, I felt okay. And yeah, looking out for natural hazards, but I mean, that's something men would be dealing with too. So,
right.
Yeah. In terms of what I did to feel safe out there as a woman, I mean, I have done a lot of solo traveling internationally. I've done a lot of also solo backpacking and trekking. But there's some things that I'm always aware of. Like, if I see anyone near me, more often men in the evening or something, I keep moving on and I decide to camp further on. I'd rather camp in a spot where nobody knows I am. Also, I had some invites to stay with locals, like the local Bedouins, and it seemed amazing, but maybe I saw children there, but I hate to say that I just didn't feel safe doing that alone. So knowing that I had all my means with me, my tent, my food, everything like that, that made me feel a lot better. Speaking with people in town, I think before starting the trail, I got like good vibes and was comfortable from the people from throughout Jordan, and so that was definitely a good thing. But still, I always have my guard up. Like when I was discussing plans with people, I told them like I will be hiking with someone, and oftentimes I said, oh, it was my guy friend or something, just because I didn't want them to think there's going to be like one or two solo women out on trail. And then also I had a point where I had like a water pickup meeting point with a guy, and like that went all smoothly and everything, but I was, like, this is gonna be me meeting one person in the middle of the desert at a specific time. And so thoughts of course crossed my mind of like, what can I do to make this the safest thing? And when we met, I actually like dropped my pack before so that if anything happened to be threatening, I could take off with myself as needed, versus like just like having a way out of every situation is kind of how I look at it. I think it can be something you overthink, but yeah, just being aware of what you're around and not giving out too much personal information, keeping in contact with people back home. I also carry my Garmin InReach with me so that I can communicate with family and friends and give them my location in the evenings. And then
Usually this counts as potential danger, but on the Jordan Trail they were such a constant problem that I decided to give them their own chapter. Dogs are always a potential danger on hiking trails that go through farmland and villages, like the Leaking Way if you remember, for example. However, On the Jordan Trail, I experienced it like never before. Maybe it was because I was alone. Maybe it was because I reacted badly or made mistakes when reading or responding to the dogs. But I was just really pissed and ready to kill in the end. It happened multiple times that a pack of 3 to 8 dogs tried to circle me in, all while aggressively barking and showing their teeth. What I did was fighting back, throwing stones, trying to hit them with sticks, shouting back to these loud bastards and making myself big. Trying to show them that I'm bigger and stronger, which was probably not the case. Now, I read a few articles that you should handle these situations more passively and use body language to show the dogs that you are no threat. The thing is, when I feel threatened, I don't have time for pacifism. So for me, an important thing were my hiking poles, to keep them a bit at distance. Probably the most important thing is to keep them in front of you, face them. Because they always, at least one of the dogs, if they try to circle you, will always try to get behind you. And as long as you face them, at least that's how I experienced it, as long as you face them, they keep a distance. They will bark at you, they will try to scare you, but they keep a distance, especially if you have the sticks as well. But the ones that try to get behind you, they are dangerous because they realize that you don't see them, and that's when they attack. So avoid the dogs getting behind you. And what can you do when they circle you? Get out of there. At one point you will cross an imaginary border, an imaginary line that only the dogs know, and then they will leave you alone. If you already get kind of on the other side, then walk backwards in the direction where you want to go. And if they already block the way before you can pass to the other side, then just move back and try to make a big detour to avoid them. Depends on the situation, I think. Throwing stones as well as the thing with the hiking poles can keep them at distance and scare them away, but also can make them more aggressive. I actually really also think they hate the hiking poles. And one of the reasons why they were so aggressive are maybe these hiking poles. But also, I didn't want to approach them without the poles or a stone in my hand because it's just fucking scary and 5 dogs bark at you like 1 meter in front of you. It's not no fun thing. I also heard that in the north the problem with the dogs is even worse, which makes sense as you pass way more farmland at these stages. For me, already the Alcarak-to-Dana stretch was quite stressful, and now I think I was alone, and I think if you're in a group or at least like 2 persons, the risk gets a little bit lower, and I think they're just way more brave when you're alone. So take care. Last thing, don't get injured. Accidents can happen all the time, but you can do at least a bit to keep your body as fit as possible. First, eat and drink enough to keep your body as fit as possible during your hike. What I always add to my diet are magnesium supplements. It just helps the natural muscle recovery of your body. They are no guaranteed cure for sore muscles and cramps, but it definitely is a difference if you add some magnesium or you don't, in my opinion. Also try to eat a lot of proteins and eat as healthy as possible. I know due to the canned food it won't be the best diet, but as soon as you get into towns, try to eat healthy and also get some fresh fruits and veggies. To prevent blisters, which are an absolute pain in the ass while hiking, get properly fitting shoes, break them in before going on the trail, and keep your feet clean. and dry. Change socks when needed and treat hot spots before they turn into blisters. Deer tallow or anti-chaffing products may also work for you. I always use deer tallow when hiking. It's the best. And also very important, get a good sleep. If you're already exhausted from the heat and also tired while walking along steep cliffs edges, shit can happen fast. So do your best to get a good night's sleep. Get a good mattress, get a good sleeping bag that keeps you warm. Think about a pillow or anything that you can use as pillow. Bring earplugs if you're hiking with a partner that snores to keep the wolves away at night. Yeah, that's basically it. Just listen to your body. I think that's the most important thing. What I want to say at the end, I'm not a doctor or anything else. This is just like my experience, how I try to keep myself fit during a hike and prevent injuries. If you want to have a more qualified opinion, go ask a doctor.
Okay guys, I think that's it. That was a really long video, wasn't it? Huh? I hope I could help you with all the stuff I said. I guess there will be still some questions open. If so, feel free to ask them in the comments and I will do my best to answer all of them. If you liked the video, if it was helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, watch my other long distance videos and survival guides and all that stuff. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.